Konnichiwa, welcome back. Yet more pickups. It's all about the Atari today, so if you're not an Atari fan you might want to tune out. However, there's some good stuff and small channel update as well. I'll start with that, I think. Those of you that watching for a while now, I've been doing the arcade project in the garage. I've still been beavering away at that these past few months, even though I haven't put anything up about it. We did pause over winter due to the being so cold, and but it started up again when it got a bit warmer, and I progressed quite well, to be honest. And it was where it was coming along nicely to where I wanted it to be, and I finished and completed it last week, and I was chuffed to bits. And then literally the day after, the bathroom tap decided to explode, flood the bathroom, and consequently the bathroom is over the garage and caused a lot of flood damage in the garage. Gutted. I'm still assessing damage at the moment, trying to get things dry. So that's kind, like I say, I'd finished it literally the day before. Getting ready to do some kind of a tour. I don't know how long it's going to take now, but I just thought I'd update you on that. Right, back to the pickups. Atari, collecting Atari in 2024. I never believed, if somebody had said to me, even 12 months ago, you're going to start collecting Atari in 2024, I'd have laughed. However, I'm absolutely loving it. Like I've said before, I don't know why, but it's really connected with me this time since I've had the Plus. And there's some great games on it. I've now got 3 systems. I've got the Plus, I've got an original, standard 2600 Junior, and I've also got a composite modded Junior as well. So I've kind of covered all bases now, and I am finding, weirdly enough, it's the original unmodified 2600 that I'm using. Because I don't know if it suits this TV I'm running it on, but it's a bloody great picture. Even through the RF cable, it's amazing. It's as good as the composite, without question. So I'm only really using the Plus now for carts which are NTSC, which won't run. Some run, but others don't work quite right on the PAL system. So I'm using the Plus for that. So yeah, I'm up to about 90 2600 games now, and I thought I'd just do a pickups episode solely on 2600, because I've got so many to get to, because I've gone crazy the past few months. I know I say it every pickups video, but it's got out of hand. I've got so much that I haven't shown yet, primarily because of being obsessed with the 2600, and I'm just trying to show a few of these really, and then I can get back to normal sort of a mixture of pickups. Right, I won't waffle anymore. I'll try and put footage up of these if I can. There's no order, and like I've said before, I am collecting predominantly cars only, because I only want to play the games, and I'm not interested in paying crazy money for the boxes. However, the boxes are beautiful in some cases. I also have made a little bit more space, so I can buy 1 or 2 more boxes that appeal, that come along. But I've got all the ones I wanted boxed. Any more now are a bonus. Right, first up, we've got Crossbow. Now I knew nothing about this, but it's really good. You're just protecting a character who's running across or walking across the screen, and you're protecting him from getting hit by enemies. Very simple, and there's about three. I think there's 3 screens. Is there? You know, you get across one screen, then it changes to a different setting. Very simple, but really, really good. Kind of like a rescue mission on the Master System in a way. That kind of premise. Right, next up, another Activision game. I'm slowly trying to track down any of these where I haven't got. And this time we've got boxing. I think Dylan mentioned this in one of the previous videos. And I had just bought this at the time. So now it's featuring at last. Top-down boxing game. I mean, the screenshots on the cart, really. Very simple, but for the time it would have been great, I imagine. And it is another quality Activision game. Next up, now this is really good. We've got Defender 2. I think a lot of people sort of say that this is much better than the first attempt at Defender. And I think it probably is from what I've played of it. It is a very good port to Defender, I've got to say, on the 2600. And definitely worth checking out. Well, if you like Defender, obviously, which, you know, it's a cool game in my opinion. Right, next up. Now this is a bit of another rabbit hole, I've got to say. Following on from the kind of the iMagic boxes, because the Spectra video boxes are chrome just the same as the iMagic boxes, and they are very nice, I've got to say. Anyway, I've got a cart-only version of a Spectra video game, which also has a chrome style label. Don't show up very well on the camera. But yeah, Planet Patrol. Now this is another cool little game, I've got to say. Considering what it's running on, this is a sort of a very early basic shmup. Really good, honestly. You'll see from the footage what it's kind of like. But it's these kind of things that have surprised me about the 2600. Yes, the graphics are primitive, but for the time and what it's running on, it's incredible. You know, what they managed to do with it. When really it was kind of designed at a time when, you know, Pong consoles were the norm, and it wasn't much more than a Pong console, and the fact they made all these games for it and what they got out of it, considering the technology, incredible. Another Spectravision game, Tapeworm. Now I've got to say, this is really, really good. It's like it's Snake, basically, the old mobile phone game, in effect, done for the 2600. But it varies the levels and it kind of changes it up. Sometimes it'll be in the dark and you get like a glimpse, like a flash of light, so you can see what's going on, and then you've got to remember where to manoeuvre the character in the darkness. You know, because it varies, it's not the same every level. Honestly, this is an awesome game. I absolutely love it. I did buy this at a similar time to buying this, which is Surround. Obviously this is boxed. I bought this because this is also like Snake, but for me it's not a patch on Tapeworm. This is a far inferior game in my opinion. But the primary reason I bought this really was because I wanted a green box to sort of blend the rainbow together, if you like, on the shelf. But that said, you know, you can't beat this early artwork, can you, of these original Atari boxes. So, although I'm not going to play that much, to be fair, it's nice to have. But Tapeworm is by far the better game. Then the last one of these Spectravision games that I've got today is Cross Force. I should have said as well, these Spectravision carts, because obviously all publishers have got their own style carts, these feel particularly well made, much like the Activision original carts do. But it's Cross Force anyway. This is another sort of single screen shooter where you've got ships at the top and bottom, and they sort of move in alternate directions, and your fire is in a line between your two ships, and you've got to line your ships up so as the crossfire takes out the enemies. Again, really simple, but really, really good. There's so many awesome sort of single screen shooters. It's fantastic. Next up, we've got another arcade conversion, and we've got Crystal Castles. Now obviously it's not as good as the arcade, but it's not an arcade I ever played until very recently, and I've got to say the arcade is really quite good. It's kind of a 3D isometric Pac-Man in a way. So, you know, the 2600, it was stretching the imagination to think it could do it. But that said, it's a mighty fine effort, and it's not a bad effort at all at doing Crystal Castles. It's still a good game, and although graphically don't look as nice as the arcade, it plays really quite similar, and it's another job well done, to be honest. Right, next up, now this is a recommendation from a few weeks ago now at the Black Country Game Fair by P-Fighter, and it's Midnight Magic, which is a pinball game. And I'm not crazy about pinball games, I've got to be honest. I do like the odd one, sort of like the original Pinball Dreams on the Amiga, or Devil Crash on the Mega Drive, a few others. But Pete said this was really good, and I eventually found a copy. I forget where, don't matter. I think it was one of the local shops. I've not played much of it yet, but I've got to say it was a good recommendation, Pete, if you're watching. Not a bad pinball game, and certainly better than the Atari pinball game, video pinball I think it's called. Obviously it's primitive, but again, really not bad, and for the time it constantly blows my mind. This next one, I'd got to buy this because I love bowling games, and it's bowling. This is obviously a very early game, and it is very primitive, but that said, it plays a good game of bowls, I've got to say. Or 10-pin bowling I should say, not bowls. It's viewed side on, but it plays good, and you can have after touch on your bowling ball, so you can sort of move it up and down with spin as it's, you know, flying down the course. Really, really good, honestly. I mean, it's not league bowling, obviously, but for what it is, a damn fine game, and it's like, this is cheap as cheap, it's like £2 or something. Right, this next one, I didn't know anything about this, Megaforce. Now this is a 20th Century Fox cart. It was the first one of these I bought. Again, I'm a bit obsessed with trying to get one of each publisher's cart, because they're all different, you know. I find it really fascinating, and you've got the nice 20th Century Fox logo on the back of these. Cart label's a bit worn, I've got to say. This was a bit disappointing. It's a single screen shooter, but, or is this the single screen shooter? No, this is the scrolling one, I think. Yeah, I think it is. I've only played this once, but I wasn't that enamoured with it. I think it's the scrolling shooter. So again, another early primitive shmup. I think it's the one where you've got to take out the enemy base. It's kind of, if I've got the right one, it's a bit like Choplifter. In a set, you're not rescuing people, it's just purely shooting the enemies down. But I don't know, something didn't quite click with me on that one, but I do need to try it again, because the premise was good, as I remember. I don't know if it was the controls I couldn't get on with, or I don't know, something springs to mind. I wasn't that enamoured with that, but I want to play it again. Last cart only one I've got to show today. Now, I'd seen videos of this, and it seemed good. So I was quite keen to track it down, but the trouble with a lot of this Atari 2600 collecting, when you've watched all these best of videos and recommended games and all that kind of stuff, which I have, and made a big list, a lot of the stuff is games that are primarily in the USA, because I think a lot of games, obviously Atari was much bigger in the USA than it was here, and a lot of games were released there that weren't released here, and there's obviously much more choice and volume of games in the States than there is here. So a lot of the stuff I'm looking for you can only get from the USA. So it's a case of either waiting for one to crop up in the UK or buying from America generally. I managed to drop on this one over here in a local. This was in Old School Gaming. Great. I've had some great deals in there. Great shop. Anyway, enough waffle. The cart label's not very good, but it's fast food. Now this is another different style cart, another different publisher. I don't know who the publisher is actually. Telly Systems, I think. But yeah, this is a mighty fine game. Kind of. You've got like a Pac-Man style looking character, but it's a free roaming single screen game where you've got to eat food and avoid certain items, but it's all moving, hence the title, very quickly. So it kind of looks a bit like a food fight, but you haven't got to get to a goal. It's just avoiding certain items and eating other items to fill your character up, basically. Really, really good. This is a cracking game, I've got to say. Absolutely tremendous, that one. That's a star. Right, we've got a few box games now. Now this is an American release, and I've had trouble getting this to run. But I had to buy it because I love this game on the Intellivision. Unfortunately, I sold my Intellivision, and I've kind of regretted it because I love this game so much. I have since bought the game back just to have it on the shelf, but I've still not got the console. I'm in two minds whether to buy another one, to be honest. The game is that good. Anyway, that on the Intellivision it's called Astro Smash. However, you can get it for the 2600 and it's called Astro Blast. As you can see, this is a Telegames game, but this is the American version. I think the UK one is blue. But like I say, I've had trouble getting this to run. But it's nice to have on the shelf at least. I mean, I've seen video of it, and it's not as nice to look at quite as the Intellivision, I don't think. But like I say, I'm having trouble getting this to run, so I am going to be looking out for the PAL version to see if that should work fine then on the system I've got. But I'm not expecting it to be as good as the Intellivision, if I'm honest. Right, next up, now this probably is an all-time classic, and if you had a 2600 back in the day, I'm sure you would have had this, because this basically is what gaming was at the time. And we got Video Olympics, because this is Pong in effect, and all the sort of variants of Pong that what the grandstand TV games would play. Obviously they're all on the Atari cart. 50 different variants, as you can see on the box. I felt I wanted this in the collection, even though it's really basic. But you know, I still think Pong's a great game. You know, in its purest form. Not been able to try this yet, unfortunately, because I'm still waiting for the paddles to get released. So haven't actually tried this yet, beyond testing the cart works. But it was nice to get that box because I wanted it on the shelf. And also it's a more of a yellowy orange box, so it's, again, much like Surround, it allowed the rainbow to blend together. Right, now this one's for Craig, really. One-on-one fighters on the Atari 2600. Yes, there is at least one because I've bought it. Kind of not one-on-one fighters, but it's a scrolling fighter, if you like. Kung Fu Master. It's a lovely box, I've got to say. Really nice. Activision title. Look at the artwork on that. The back's quite plain. But I've got to say, this looks amazing for a 2600. Honestly, the graphics on this are incredible for what it's running on. And it plays really well as well. This is honestly a cracking game. I'm kind of staggered how good this is, really. Kung Fu Master. You'll see from the footage, hopefully, you know, it beggars belief how good that looks. Right, I've got 2 to go. Now this, I think I did show this in the last Game Box Porn video. However, I've not shown it in the pickups. And we've got King Kong. Another spectacular box. I wasn't looking for this box, I've got to say, but it just cropped up and I got it cheap. I think I sent it a low offer, or somebody sent me an offer or something. I think I sent an offer and got it really cheap. But it was battered when it was in a terrible state when I got it, and in the pictures, it looked terrible, which probably didn't help the price. But managed to clean it up, give it an iron, and now it looks quite nice, I've got to say. And it's a lovely box. I like how the front of the box and the back of the box is like the reverse what you see on the front. Awesome. It's a Donkey Kong clone, basically. I mean, it's nowhere near as good as Donkey Kong, but it's still not a bad game, I've got to say. And really, what a great box. Right, now the last one. I've saved the best till last. Now this is a game I never knew anything about, I've got to say, until Lee Tetley, great channel. Go check him out if you've not watched Tetley. Fantastic channel, absolutely love it. Shows loads of games you've probably never heard of on early 8-bit formats, and this is where I learned of this game, and it's Turmoil. Another 20th Century Fox game. I really wanted this one complete. Now I did have to import this from America. I can't remember how much I paid. It wasn't mega cheap, but it wasn't like crazy money. It was a good price for a complete one. And it came really well, I've got to say. But anyway, Turmoil. What an amazing game this is. It's kind of side-on Tempest, if you like. You're moving your character up and down this central channel, shooting enemies either side, and you can only shoot some enemies in the back. And it's ineffective if you fire when they're forward facing, so you've got to sort of move up and down, let them pass you, and then move back up and shoot them as they've gone past you. Really simple, again, single screen shooter, but amazing, fantastic game. Like I say, it's very much like a side-on Tempest for me. And I don't know if I showed you the back, did I? I'll put the footage up of this one, I think. So you'll see what it's like. But I'm, chuffed to get that one on the shelf. Fantastic. And there we go. That'll do for today, I think. Quite a good bunch of Atari. And I've got to say, as amazed as I would have been 12 months ago to hear that I'm 90 games into an Atari 2600 collection. I don't regret it for 1 minute. It's one of the best things I've ever got into. It's just a shame it's took me 45 years to do it, or however long it is 45 years, isn't it, roughly, since the 2600 come out. But yeah, there's some amazing games on it. So there's going to be more 2600 to come. And at some point I'm going to do like a 2600 video of like shmups, 2600 shmups, because it's amazed me how many sort of early shmup inspired games there are on this system. So thanks for watching, anybody who's lasted this long. All you Atari fans out there, there's more to come. But hope you're all well anyway, and be nice to know what you think in the comments. Drop us a thumbs up, and hope to see you soon. Sayonara.